Hello and welcome to the gameDev Outpost. My name is Travis Kaler and this is Modeling Them Shapes in Maya. Today we'll be covering fundamentals by creating primitives. We're going to be using the grid, so if you haven't seen the Setting Up the Grid quick tip, go check it out and come right back. We're going to go over two shapes, right triangle and equilateral triangle. This sounds simple, but knowing the tools and ideas involved will help you problem solve and model faster. To create the right triangle, we're going to start with a 2x2 plane and a grid set to 1 unit in meters. So to create our right triangle, we're going to go into vert mode, we're going to select the lower right vert and the upper left vert, and then we'll go to edit mesh and we want to click on connect. I recommend that you hotkey this. So click connect and you'll see we have two triangles on top of each other. So let's go to face mode and we'll select the top triangle and we'll delete it, and now we have a right triangle. Let's move on to our equilateral triangle. This is where it gets a bit more complicated. So we're going to be rotating our mesh and snapping verts to the grid to form our shape. Picture it like a cube rotating over on a table from point to point. So to rotate this correctly, we need to know the outside degrees of each point. Here's how we find it. So anything that's equilateral is formed around a circle. So 360 degrees divided by the amount of points, 3 points. And we get 120 degrees. So how do we use that? Next, we need to go to our tool settings. You can find the tool settings in the upper right hand corner of the viewport. You'll see this hammer icon. Click it. So these are our tool settings. The tool settings change depending on what mode you're in. Move, rotate, and scale. We want to be in rotate mode. And what we care about the most is the step snap. If you click this drop down, you'll see off, relative, and absolute. For our purposes, it doesn't matter which one we choose. So just choose one. And then from here, this is where we want to put in those degrees that we found. So we'll put in 120 degrees and we'll try and rotate it. But this is not what we want. Remember what we said before, we want this to rotate as if it's like a cube rotating on a table from point to point. We want it to be here. So we need to move the pivot point. We do that by hitting insert on the keyboard and then hold X to toggle the grid snaps, and then we'll drag this point down to here. We're going to do this 2 more times. So hit insert again and we're going to grab the rotation from this axis and we're going to do it 1 click, and then from here we're going to grab the right vert and we're going to drag it down to 2 grid units over. So we'll hold X, we're going to drag it down, and we're going to do that 1 more time. It looks like an equilateral triangle, but we want to make sure. So we'll go to object mode, we'll hit insert on our keyboard, we'll hold X, we'll move the pivot to the right, we'll hit insert again, go back to our rotation mode, and we'll rotate it 1 click, and just to make sure, we'll go to vert mode, we're going to grab the vert, hold down X again on the keyboard, I'm going to make sure it's right there. And now we have our equilateral triangle. So from here, I recommend that you try using that technique again to make something like a pentagon or an octagon. There was a lot covered here. We covered problem solving equilateral angles, moving the pivot point, grid snapping, and rotation snapping. Alright, if this was useful and you want to see more, comment down below, like, and subscribe. Alright guys, later.